With us now, Republican Senator Sen Sullivan of Alaska. He's a Marine Corps veteran, member of the reserves, who serves on both the Senate Commerce and Armed Services Committee and participated in today's hearing. Senator, thanks for joining us. Are you confident that a catastrophic meltdown like what happened last month will not happen again?
No, I'm not confident. That's why we held the hearing. Actually, this is the second hearing we've held on aviation safety, aviation issues just in the last 2 weeks on the Commerce Committee. You might remember the Southwest meltdown over the holidays, and then this OTAN meltdown. This is a big wake-up call for our country and certainly the FAA, and it's old technology. We need to update technology to make sure our systems are able to function well, function during storms like we saw over the holidays, and make sure we continue to have the safest aviation travel system anywhere in the world.
Is there appetite on Capitol Hill to spend the money to update the technology so that we have the systems we need?
Oh, I think absolutely. Certainly from this senator you do. And here's the reason, Jake. I mean, Americans take for granted that we have, like I said, the safest air travel of any place on the planet. It's a great record. But what we don't want, and we're starting to see indications that it could happen, we don't want innovations and technological advancements spurred by some kind of major disaster. We want to be able to be in front of this. To me, the signals are out there already that we need to be proactive, not reactive. And I'll tell you this, in my state, in the great state of Alaska, boy, we need huge upgrades to our aviation system. We have over 250 communities that aren't connected by roads. And you need safe travel by air in Alaska, but across the country. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes.
And now we're talking about 3 near collisions involving huge passenger planes. There was one that we just learned about in Honolulu, all of these within a month of each other. Did you get answers on how this is being addressed?
Well, to be honest, the news of the third one is something that I just learned about as well. But it makes the point that I've been making, which is we need to get in front of this. 3 warnings, and in addition, like I said, to the meltdown of Southwest over the holidays, to me is a very significant warning that we got to take preemptive measures, proactive measures to make sure we have safety. That's why we've had 2 hearings in the last 2 weeks on this. We'll continue to do it. We also need an FAA administrator. You saw today the witness was an acting administrator. We need a full Senate-confirmed administrator soon, have the hearings soon to press on these issues when he goes through his confirmation.
Let's turn to another issue that I know is important to you as an Alaskan, the Chinese spy balloon.
Yeah.
The Senate got a classified briefing on China in the last hour. Do you think President Biden handled this correctly, both the spy balloon and also the 3 subsequent aircraft that have been shot down from the sky?
Well, look, the first thing you mentioned, Alaska, the first thing I want to do on your show is do a shout out to the Alaska Air Forces, active duty, National Guard. Jake, think about what they've done in the last 10 days. They tracked this big balloon. They went and intercepted it. They tracked these smaller radar signatures of objects. They went and intercepted those, shot 2 of those down, the one over Alaska, the one over Canada. Those were Alaskan-based forces that shot down the Canadian one. And then just yesterday, they intercepted a Bear bomber with 2 fighter escorts that was trying to get in to the American ADIZ in Alaska. That was 2 weeks of work. Our military forces in Alaska, which by the way is the top cover of America, were so critical to our nation's defensives. They've been working overtime. But I will tell you this, I've been satisfied with the briefings I've gotten from the military. General Van Herk, the NORTHCOM commander, has kept me well informed on the tracking of the object Friday. I strongly encourage him, by the way, in a bipartisan manner, to shoot that aircraft down, which is what they ended up doing. But where I've not been satisfied is the broader administration's lack of transparency. There are a number of things we learned in the briefing yesterday that I've been aware of that I think the American people should know about. And you know, there's things that they should let us know. There's things that they should tell us they don't know. Of course, they shouldn't let on to sources and methods, but I don't think they've been transparent enough. And as you know, when they're not transparent, then the wild speculation, unfounded fears can result in the public. They need to be more transparent.
Anything you want to share with us from the briefing? I'm sure our viewers would love to hear.
Well, look, yesterday's briefing was on the balloons, and I pressed them to share more, which I think it's up to the executive branch to do. Today's briefing was on the broader China threat. It was the Office of Net Assessment. It's still going on. It's a highly classified briefing, but I will tell you this, it was a sobering briefing because our military advantage relative to the Chinese continues to erode. And we need to focus on that. And I'm calling on the president to focus on that. It was his administration giving this briefing that I just walked out of about the erosion of our advantage relative to the Chinese. And each year, the president sends up a budget for defense that's defense cuts. And, it's a huge disconnect. His administration is literally telling 100 senators right now about the challenges and the erosion of our military advantage. And each year they send up cuts to the Pentagon. Makes no sense. And I think they need to put forward a budget that reflects the threats that they're briefing senators on right now.
And also, U.S. intelligence officials are investigating the possibility that that Chinese spy balloon was meant to fly over Guam, where the U.S. has military facilities, but instead was blown wildly off course because of strong winds. What do you make of that?
So again, this is what's a little frustrating. I've been in several classified briefings about these spy balloons. I have not heard that in any of the classified briefings. We had briefings yesterday that said in a classified setting that the Pentagon and the intelligence community was not sure where these additional balloons and objects have come from. I still think we should suspect the worst, like our adversaries, China and Russia. And then you have, right after that briefing, Admiral Kirby at the National Security Council staff saying he doesn't think it's China at all. Again, that's a disconnect to what 100 senators were told yesterday. So I think they need to get their story straight. My understanding of that Chinese spy balloon, it had propulsion to do some directional travel. So I'm not sure it was subject fully to the winds. And it seemed to be directed over Alaska and the rest of the country in a way that was purposeful. But we'll learn more, obviously, as we recover those, the spy balloon and the other objects.
Republican Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska, it's always good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to see you, Jake. Thanks.